Well, people are playing hooky on their RSVPs, so we're not going to keep waiting for them. We're going to get started with the few folks who showed up on time. Hi, everyone. We appreciate you. And obviously, you're already starting to learn a little bit about Colton, much more to come. But before I give him the floor to really introduce himself and this topic, just a reminder, we are Every Move Collective at eXp Realty. We host these calls on the second and fourth Monday of every month. We also run a top producing team out of Westchester County, New York, Connecticut, and Los Angeles. And this has been an awesome year. This is the very last call of 2025. And it's a topic that I'm actually really excited to learn about because when you think about scaling and growing in this business, it's so often you just think that the way to do that is by growing a team. And in our conversations with Colton, he really opened our eyes to different ways to approach this. So, really personally excited to just learn about this and glad that those of you that found interest in this topic showed up, and those of you that are tuning in on YouTube, definitely drop us a comment, let us know what you think. But Colton, I will hand over the mic to you and let you introduce yourself and share a little
Cool.
bit about your background and your team.
Awesome. Yeah. So my name's Colton Whitney. I'm out of Orange County, California. I started my career in Las Vegas and had for those of you guys who just jumped on here, I had my daughter when I was 16. And I got into real estate, not because I had a passion for real estate. I don't have a passion for it at all. But I knew I wanted a path where I would be responsible for the world that I was able to build. It's like I didn't want to get into my dad, actually, thank God for my dad. He was in construction. So I thought I would just go work for my dad's company and I'd get involved in construction. If you've ever read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, when I read that book, I think I was 14, I read it and I knew immediately. And my father is the most amazing human being on the planet, best dad in the world. But my dad knew I want you to listen to Frank. That was my first mentor. And my dad was my poor dad. Frank was my rich dad. Like I immediately made the correlation. And thankfully to my dad, he didn't want me to follow in his path. He knew putting me onto Frank's path would build a better life for me. And I'm super grateful for my father for that. But when I got into real estate, and this is all going to segue in, I promise. But when I got into real estate, I had to figure it out. Like I had to be successful. And the thing that I really hate about our industry, and you're going to learn there's a lot of it that I dislike, is we are incredibly reckless with people's lives. I don't know if you guys remember the first time, because I do. I remember the first time I had to walk into a brokerage and talk to the brokerage. I was like nervous and I was like shaking, and I was like, well, I hope they'll hire me. And I found out immediately, oh God, they didn't care at all. They didn't ask me any questions. They didn't like try to vet me at all. They didn't try to ask any questions to make sure that they were the right environment for me. Like we are so incredibly reckless with people's lives because we just don't care. There's no sweat. They don't care if you succeed, if you fail. But then if you go try to join a team, you'll notice there is a difference in the way that a brokerage will interview versus a team. Not much, but a little bit. Because now you're going to bring somebody into your personal world. Now you're going to bring somebody who you might have to pay for systems for. Maybe you're going to give them leads. Like now this person does have their success and or their failure does have more of an impact on you. So we asked a little bit better questions. You want to make sure you're not letting a psychopath into your world. You're wanting to make sure that you're not having somebody who's going to destroy your culture. We become a little bit more protective over it, but not much. But then if you've ever gone and hired somebody, your assistant, now all of a sudden you're asking every single question. Now all of a sudden you want to know everything about them. You want to know what makes them tick. You want to know their personality type. You want their blood. You want everything so you can uncover everything. And why? And the reason you're about to start trading your money for this person's time, and you have something severely to lose as a result of this being the wrong person. And it's like the industry is unbelievably broken because we don't give a shit. And that's the thing that sucks about our industry. Nobody sets realistic expectations. Nobody takes the time to give you training that is actually going to be effective. And guys, I'm sorry, I will try to. Brent Gove always yells at me. I have a potty mouth. My mom raised me, Deanna Whitney. You can find her on Facebook. She is my manufacturer, so you can complain directly to the source. But I'll try to clean it up. But the entire point is you we just bring people in, and it's like the success or failure of that person should matter. I'm incredibly grateful for the person that I came into the world with in real estate. His name was Frank Napoli, and he was my mentor, and he was my dad's best friend. And the difference between who Frank was and who the industry is for most people is Frank loved me. I called him dad. I was a son to him. He knew that my daughter, who now is 18, but he knew back then that he was responsible for a future. Like he knew very heavily that there was going to be lives going to be impacted as a result of this stupid 16-year-old kid that had guy-lighted long Justin Bieber hair. I'm older than Justin Bieber, so I had it before he did. But he knew that this kid had to be successful or the failure, like he took ownership of that. And that was something that I always loved and it's something that I always appreciated. Because if you guys like a barber, somebody who shaves my barber, I asked him, I said, how many hours did you have to go to school to become a barber? And he said 1,000. And I laughed. And he goes, why are you laughing? I said, do you know in real estate you have to spend 120 hours to get licensed? I said, the difference between your 1,000 hours and my 120 is when you complete your 1,000 hours and you get certified to become a barber, the difference between you and I is you know how to cut hair. You know how to be a barber. When we get licensed to get into real estate, we have no clue how to be a successful agent. We have no clue how to keep people protected. We have no clue what to do, what we need to do. Therefore, the environment that we join is so incredibly important to that person's success. And yet, here are brokerages who bring people on and they do absolutely nearly nothing for them because they don't care. They're a numbers game. And I'm not faulting brokerages. At scale, this is a very difficult thing to do, for which I'm grateful our company created an infrastructure that supports agents at a very, very high level because you have the people within the company motivated to help. But we didn't have that growing up. Like I hate to be like back in my day, I've been doing it for 18 years now. And it's like I remember when I first started, there was no skill set, there was no processes. I had to figure everything else out. And because I fell under the wing of somebody who actually cared and somebody who knew that on Thanksgiving, he's going to have to face me and my parents and my family and my daughter and know this success or failure is because of me. So I've always adopted that mindset because I'm insanely grateful for somebody who cared like that. And so I've always tried to give that back to other people. And if you guys look at like this journey that we go through as agents, the journey that the industry tells you you're supposed to do is you're a solo agent. And then eventually you guys get sick and tired. And I will show you, I personally don't like doing these here. How do I share my screen? Can I share?
Yeah, it should give you access to do that now.
All right. Tell me if you can see this. Oh,
Why it
So the
matters.
why it matters.
oh, hold on. Is it big enough? Can you actually see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'll tell you the thing that why I think most of us need to pay attention to this. Both of these photos represent very different times. Stupid guy lighted era where kid didn't know what he was doing, got into real estate. And then this was right before my daughter's prom. She asked me to be the date for her, not her date to prom, but she called me up and she said, "Hey dad, would you mind taking me to dinner and being my date before prom?" And I got crazy excited about that. And I ended up showing up and we got there and my daughter came around the corner and she was wearing her pink little dress and she had her flowers. And it's like I immediately swelled up and started sobbing like a little baby because I just remember from her as a baby to this day, those 18 years of memories and those pages that have already been written that I can't go back and get back, they're gone. And it's like, I know any of us, when we start as a solo agent, we work our asses off. We work endless hours. We work weekends on vacations. We're always there on answering our phone. The kids are in the water playing. You've got your laptop on the beat. Like we are constantly at the beck and call of everybody except our families. Like, and that's the unfortunate part. And it's like when I look back at that time and I go, oh my God, what I wouldn't give to be able to go rewrite some of those pages. And I'll never forget the day I actually started with the model that I'm about to teach you, because the industry tells you you start as a solo, eventually you start getting burned out, you get sick and tired of being at everybody's beck and call. You want to be more present as a parent, you want to be a better spouse, you want to be a better friend, you want to take more care of yourself. Like you have all these things that you want to do, but there simply isn't enough time. So the industry tells you start a team, but the reality of it is most people don't want teams. You're starting a team because you're hoping that you get your time back and then make more money. But anybody who has started a team will tell you not only do you lose the time that you thought you were going to get back, all that time gets dedicated to going to people and trying to teach them how to sell real estate, which takes away you spending your time doing the very thing that made you successful in the first place. So you started a team because you wanted to make more money and because you wanted to get your team back, or you wanted to get your time back, but then you lost your time and in turn you also lost your profit. And it's like that's a really, really terrible place to be. And it's like I can tell you because I run a mega team and I can tell you I love this side of the business. I love building something. I love scripting. I like the behind the scenes. I'm introverted by nature. I like the behind the scenes stuff and teaching other people what to do and showing them how to do that. That's the thing that I'm passionate about. However, most people aren't like me. Like most people hate that. They don't want to babysit. They don't want to have to do these things. But it's like, well, what's the solution? And because the mega team, you lose a lot of profit. You got to scale. So in order for it to truly be profitable, you almost got to scale so big. And it's like people don't want it. So the thing that I implemented, I did not create it. My coach, Eric Hatch, taught me this. It was a production partner model. And this is a salaried agent position to which you're going to pay somebody a salary and they are going to be your partner. And the reason that this works so incredibly well is because one, you're going to be paying attention to this person the same way you should have been paying attention to your team. Because you're trading your money for their time and you are going to be very motivated to make sure that their time is being spent in a way that's going to bring you a return. That's how it works when we start paying somebody to do something. So anybody who started a team will tell you how difficult it is. I saw somebody in the comments wrote babysitting. Yeah, it's really hard to get 1099 contractors to do the things that they're supposed to do to be successful at the job that they hold. Like it's very difficult because you can't tell them what to do. You can't tell them how much of it they have to do. You can't hold them to really anything because they're independent contractors. And we as team leads set expectations and we'll do our hardest to get agents to do the things that they're supposed to do. But the reality of it is, people just don't do it because we're really good, we're cool bosses, but we're really shitty employees. So when you hire a W-2 and when you hire a double W-2 agent, what you are doing is paying somebody a salary and you're going to get three roles because people always ask this. They go, should I hire an assistant? Should I hire an ISA? Who do I hire? Well, the good news is the production partner is three roles all encompassed into one salary. You're getting an assistant, you're getting an ISA, you're getting a showing partner, you're getting all three things. Now, when I say an assistant, let me be super clear because I've had a lot of people who have run this model and they run it into the ground the minute that they get behind the steering wheel. And it's because now they're treating this person as if they're a subordinate. They're treating this person as not a partner. You're treating this person and they're picking up the kids from school and they're taking their laundry to dry cleaning. And it's like, whoa, you just took somebody who wanted to get started in real estate from doing the very things that would have made them successful at real. It's like, that's not what this role is for. The production partner's responsibilities are very simple. Their job is to do one of three things. They are to leverage you, which means anything and everything that you do that you shouldn't be. All the low dollar an hour activities, the inputting listings, the writing property descriptions, the ordering photography, ordering inspections, writing the actual purchase agreement itself, driving around and showing people the properties, all of the things that you do not need to do. And I know there's going to be a lot of objection here in a second because people are like, my clients demand me. You're not that important. We sell used houses for a living. I promise you, what you do can be taught. You're not that special. I'm not that special. What we do is not that difficult. It can absolutely be taught. And you can get somebody, maybe not to 100% of your skill set, but if you can get somebody to 65 to 70 to 75% of your abilities, and then you can get back all the time that you waste to go do more of the high dollar an hour activities, how much more business would you do if you weren't driving to listing appointments, showing all the properties, setting up the inspections, sitting at the inspections, writing up all the contracts, collecting all the crap that we do, sending the searches, running all the follow-ups? That's not what we're best at. We're best at doing the high dollar an hour activities that are going to create more of that business for us. So the cool thing about this role is it's going to give you a person who's going to leverage away all the things that you should not be doing. You're not going to be putting in the listings. Now, when they're not leveraging you, so they're learning from you. Sorry, I skipped one. They're going to learn from you. This is the thing that I had to my benefit that I know without Frank Sr. I know I can promise you without a doubt in 2008, without Frank Sr., I would not be in this business. Guaranteed, if I just joined Prudential Americana back in the day, I would have failed. Hands down, without question, my life wouldn't be here without him in the way that it is. But the reason that I had a special benefit was I got to be in his back pocket. He was like a dad to me. So when he went on a listing appointment, I got to go with him and I just sat there like a mute and I would just watch Frank and I would see how he did things and I would learn how he handled objections and I would see his delivery. I would hear the tonality. I would feel his confidence. And then over time, I got to start borrowing that confidence and making it my own. So the cool thing is like, and when you guys, who here has kids? Who here, oh, we've all been there. Who here at one point had to drive a car for the very first time? Most of us here have driven a car. You guys remember what we do when my daughter had to drive. What I didn't do was give her a YouTube video and a book and tell her good luck. I didn't throw her the keys and say, good luck, honey. You're going to do great. No, we watched our parents drive. She watched me drive her entire life. So she could understand the basics. Like you can throw any 5-year-old in a seat and they're going to understand I got to jiggle the keys or I got to push the button now that we're getting older. It's like I either got to jiggle the keys or I got to push the button. I know I got to do the thing in the center or put it in. I like we can go figure that out because we watched it. But then when your kids are ready to drive, you don't throw them the keys and say, figure it out. Now you're going to sit in the passenger seat and you're going to watch them execute the workflow that's going to allow them to get that vehicle from point A to point B safely. Okay. That is the one thing that I had by default and by accident. It was not by design. I ended up being in somebody's back pocket to where I got to one, watch them, see what they did, but also most importantly, he would then start watching me. So I will never forget the first time we went to a listing appointment. It was a $4 million listing appointment, which back then and at that time was a $40 million listing to me in 2008 and in Vegas. And he says, hey, you're up. And I was like, what? And he goes, you're up. You're conducting the listing consultation. And I panicked. I had a heart attack. I started sweating and I was freaking out because this was Steve Wynn's right-hand man. This was Steve Wynn's architect. His name was Derider Butler. I will never forget this meeting because I had to then go do a presentation on a listing. And I stumbled my way through it. And then when the listing contract came, he then said, all right, have him sign it. So I tried to hand the listing agreement to Frank because I've never once read this stupid thing. I didn't know how to present it. This guy was an engineer. So he turned it back and said, no, Colton, explain it to him. So I fumbled my way through this entire thing and I was shaking, the pen, everything. What I found out later was Frank wanted to show me how stupid I was for not being prepared. He wanted to show me, he wanted me to see how important it is for you to be able to deal with an engineer type client who's going to want every single I dotted, every single T crossed. Like he wanted to make sure that I understood the importance of knowing that information for the type of clients that it actually was. And it's like, why was that so valuable? One, I got to watch him, then he got to watch me, give me the feedback so I could improve. And then once I proved proficiency in doing that thing, then he would let me go do it on my own. I don't let you didn't let your kids, and I wouldn't let my daughter drive the vehicle on their own until they proven their ability to do it and to do it with mastery so that we could be confident that they wouldn't get hurt. The thing that we do in real estate is I'm going to show you what to do, and then I expect you to do it the right way. And there is a huge gap in that. And it's one, we need to be able to watch them. But then most importantly, I need you to watch me so you can show me what I'm doing wrong. So you can show me what I can do to improve. So you can show me how I can do it more confidently and get the type of results that you did. So then the next appointment, we got to go do it again. I was less nervous because I was way more prepared. I'd read the contract 15 times. And then I presented and then we went back. So it's like the production partner is going to create this exact environment for you. You're going to have somebody with you at all times. They're going to watch you to learn how you operate. They're going to be a part of you making your follow-up calls. They're going to be a part of you and how you negotiate and how you handle objections. And you get to have this person watch. And then eventually they're going to get to the point where now you're going to let them go do. Now you're going to watch them do it to see, one, are they making any mistakes? Which one? You did, they will. Don't get upset when people inevitably make mistakes. But the coolest part about it is once you've gotten this person trained up, you will have somebody it's putting another engine on the airplane. You're going to have somebody who's prospecting for you. You're going to have somebody who's following up with you. You're going to have somebody who is doing all the things that we know we should be doing, but we inevitably just don't have enough time in the day to be able to do it all. Your business improves. You'll be able to, the time that you spend in the car, writing, doing all the things that you don't need to do. The only thing that's important about what we do is the consultation itself, the negotiations, and handing off the keys. That's it. And I'll prove it to you. The model is the exact same when you go visit your doctor. When you go visit your doctor, because this is the kickback that I get all the time. People are like, nope, Colton, that would not work for me because my clients need me too much. No, they don't. I promise you. Because what you'll find is when you go to your doctor, you go in, is it your doctor who's taking your insurance card? Is it your doctor who's collecting the copay? Is it your doctor who's weighing you? Is it your doctor who's checking your vitals? No. There's people involved in each and every one of these steps. Your doctor shows up, reads a chart, and then looks at it, diagnoses, prescribes, and then dips out in 3.5 seconds. You have no problem with that. Why? Because the person that's there to do the heavy lifting, the important job, they're there. You're the doctor. You're there to handle the negotiations. You're there to handle the consultation. You're there to handle the important parts. And then they are there to fill in all the gaps. Because the thing that you guys are going to spend the time doing, you're going to get a lot of time back. Because if you, and I would encourage you, go track your time. How much time do you spend showing houses, inputting listings, writing contracts, setting up showings, doing all the things that is not what the doctor should be doing? Like how much of that time? Now, you get that time back, and what you choose to do with it is completely up to you. You can choose to, and I will never forget this day because it was one of the days that I realized I fucked up. It was when my daughter was 14 years old. It was probably 4 years ago. My daughter was 14 years old. I remember I asked her, I said, what do you want to do today? And she's like, or I asked her the night before, I said, what do you want to do tomorrow? And she's like, can we go on a hike? And I said, yeah. So we went on a hike and then we got back down and I said, well, what do you want to do for the rest of the day? And she's like, well, do you have appointments? And I was like, no, I don't have any appointments today. It's just you and me all day today. And she was like, I saw her eyes light up. She got excited. And it's like I realized immediately what I had geared and trained my daughter to do, and that's to expect me not to be available and me not to get her not to get my full time and attention. So I got to say we went to the pool and we sat in the pool and we had I get emotional every time I talk about it because I'll never forget we were sitting in the pool. It was a beautiful sunny day. It was an amazing weekend. And my daughter reaches over and she's not like a loving, a very affectionate. She's not that type of kid. She reaches over and she grabbed my hand and she goes, hey, she's like, I really love today. Thank you. And it's like, I remember that hit me like a ton of bricks because I've geared my daughter to think that she doesn't get my time. And it's like, if you're a parent, you will get to a point in time where you're like, oh my God, I fucked up. I should have been more present. I should have spent more time. And it's like, if I talk to her about this, she's like, Dad, you're always there. Like she'll tell you too much. But it's like we as parents know the weekends that you didn't go swimming, that you didn't go do the things that they should have done. Maybe you were too tired because they weren't getting the very version. You get to get all your time back and choose how much of it is going to be rededicated towards my family, how much of it's going to be dedicated towards my children so I can be a better parent, so I can be more present, how much of it's going to be reinvested so I can be a better spouse, be a better friend, be a better kid, take care of my parent. Like you get all the time back so you can choose what to do with it. Or you can take half of it. You can divvy it up. You can give it some of it to your kid. You can give some of it to your spouse. Or you can do what I did, which was I wanted a ton of it back from my family. And I also needed the time to go build my mega team because I know in order for my mega team to be successful, there's a lot of infrastructure that has to be built, training that has to be built, people that have to be hired and trained. It's like I was trying to build this team, but all my time was being sucked away by clients where I couldn't build a good team. So you get the time back and you get to choose what you're actually going to do with it. And I'm going to share with you. And first, I'm going to stop and I want to pause because I want to give everybody the ability to ask any questions from up to this point. But you guys, if you are really committed to it, I encourage you to go do a time assessment to where you pause and you can set this up on ChatGPT. Like back when I first did my first time assessment, I had to write it down. You can tell ChatGPT, perform a time assessment analysis over the next 72 hours. Between the hours of 8 o'clock and 7 o'clock, I want you to set me a reminder, and the reminder will go off. And every 30 minutes, it's going to tell you, what did you do? And you're going to go write that all down. You're going to write down everything you did, the listing that you sent, the phone calls that you made, or you're going to go write it all down. And then I want you to go categorize everything at the end of the 72 hours. You don't got to do the sleepy time, but from 8 o'clock till 6 or from 9 to 5, whatever your working hours are, truly get an assessment of how you spend your time. And then I want you to you're going to write it all down and you're going to put it in that little chat GPT thing. And you're going to put, I sent the email, you've got to write all of it. And here's the trick. You can lie to yourself and convince yourself, like, don't lie to it because you're only cheating yourself. There's a reason that you're listing all this stuff out. And at the conclusion of the 72 hours, you're going to have it break everything down into three different categories. Money making, so things that actually generate revenue for you, money making activity, which this can get a little blurry because yes, the open house is money making. Yes, going on showings is money making. But you don't have to be the one to do it. So it's not money making. The open house, I will count. That's a money making activity because you're generating. The showing the houses is not money, that's maintenance work. That's something that needs to be done, but it's not you who needs to do it. So you're going to break it down. Money making activities, necessary but not by you, and then time wasters. Your job is you will maintain all the money making, and then you're going to delegate everything else. Nothing else is going to get done. And when you do this time and motion assessment, I can promise you, most people are spending less than 20% of their time on money making activities. And in fact, most agents are spending less than 15 to 10% of their time. And it's like, so the thing that this is going to give you back is time so that you can then reinvest that time. And what people get fearful of is, well, Colton, if I got to go pay this salary, I can't afford it. And there is an answer as to when you should do this step. It's not something that you do. That's not something that I would have done the day I started real estate. There's chapters that you have to live and there's pages that you have to write before you get to this point. But the minute you're busy and the minute you're making steady income and the minute that you have 3 months worth of salary saved, you hire them. Because if you got all of your time back to go invest into the money making activities, there's no way, especially with, and I want to make sure, do you say it Eva or Ava?
Eva.
Okay, I didn't want to say it wrong. So, how much more successful would you be if you got to do the thing that's made you who you are? Like, if that's all you did was focus on the thing that's made you who you are, that's built the business that you built. If all of that time was able to go reinvest it into your highest and best use, how much more successful would you be? And by the way, I know you're already extremely successful, but the answer for everybody is more. And maybe it's not so much because I can promise you, you can remember this with Kobe. I have no doubt you were busy. I have no doubt you're an amazing and incredible mother. But there are days when you'll look back and be like, shit, I could have had so much more time to really focus on the things that I'm actually going to give a shit about on my deathbed. The things that I'm going to have write about me in my obituary, the type of mom that it was, the things that I attended, the things that I didn't attend. Like those are going to be the things that we care about. This model fixes it all. And I'm going to show you the breakdown here, and then I'll shut up for a second and let you guys ask some questions. But this is tell me you're good. So my mega team model, my micro team retains me 47% more revenue than the traditional team model. And this is including the salary. So I want you to just pretend a hypothetical scenario. You're a $10 million producing agent. Okay. $250,000. Typical team splits. And again, I know this varies, but let's say you're a typical team, you split it 50-50. The company has retained 125,000. 125,000 went to the agents. Fine. That works. At 20 million, 500,000, 250. The company retained 250. The agents got 250. The same exact model. I want you to go look at this at 10 million. You take the same 250,000, the salary, $45,000, minus the bonuses, which we'll talk about in a minute. The company retained 180,000 in comparison to 125. At 20 million, the company retained 405,000 as opposed to the 250. It's 47% more company retained dollar than the traditional team model. And the more successful you are at this, the more of it you do, the bigger that margin gets. And a lot of people will sit here, and I promise you I can prove it wrong because I've done it and I've trained this to a ton of team leads. If you go put out an ad for a production partner, and then you go put out an ad for a team agent, a non-salaried agent, an agent who's got to now go get either, unless you got a sugar mama, sugar daddy, or a trust fund, you got 90 to 120 days before you have to start earning income or you're failing out of the business. That's a really, really horrible path and a scary path for people to go in. And not to mention, when you first join a brokerage, you spend all your time doing stuff that you don't even know because you don't know what you're supposed to do. So go put out an ad for the salary, go put out an ad. You will get 10 times the people to submit an interest in the salaried position because most people are not geared to be the driver. Most people are not geared to be the decision maker or the risk taker. Most people find comfort in stability. The vast majority of us find comfort in stability. It's you psychopaths out there that want the instability of doing a 1099 job to where we don't get a guaranteed income. We are crazy for wanting to do that. It makes us us. It's the thing that makes us be successful at it. However, most people don't want it. So most people would love to take the check because you're going to give them a livable wage to make that on-ramp obtainable. From the time of me getting into this business and me being self-sustaining, there's a long ramp and a learning path that we know is very difficult. One, you're going to give this person a livable income. You're going to give them a way to put fuel in the car. You're going to give them a way to pay for food and to pay bills while they're learning the skill sets to be an incredible agent. And then not only that, but then they get to sit with Kobe and they can see how she's handling business, how she handles objections, the way that she conducts herself, the schedule that she adheres to that's made her successful. So this agent is getting an incredible mentor that they get to be in their pocket. They're getting paid a livable income, and you're getting your time back so that you can go be better at whatever it is you want to go invest that time in. And it's like if you're smart, you'll take some of it, invest it in your health, in your fitness, in your finances, in your family, and then you take the other half to doubling down and going doing more of the activity that's made you successful in the first place. And by the way, when that production partner is not leveraging you, which means they're not doing things for you that otherwise without them you would have to be doing, then they're prospecting for you. They're holding open houses for you. You have another engine, part of your business, that's going to be putting money bringing money to the table as opposed to just taking it off. So the model is incredible because it gives you the ability to just go be better. And it's better for the cool part about this is it's a win-win-win. It's a win for the team lead. It's a win for the production partner model. But let's not forget who this whole entire thing actually impacts. It's a win for the client. Because when the brand new agent takes over a deal and starts negotiating it for a client, because they have no idea they're brand new, how many times have we screwed up a deal? We didn't have the ability to articulate to them why their lowball offer was ultimately going to end up costing them their house. When they got hit with an objection that a good, talented agent would have had the ability to handle, but because they ended up in the hands of a lesser experienced agent, they didn't have somebody there to give them the education. These people didn't end up buying the home, and now they're priced out forever because they didn't buy back in 2020 because they were just in the hands of a less capable agent. How many people are priced out because people were too fearful to start buying back in 2020? I know I had a lot of those conversations, and I know I talked to a ton of people. I helped give them the education that they needed to create the confidence to make them not fearful so they'd get off the fence and get into a market, into a home because I'm experienced. I have that skill set. If I was brand new, I would have cost so many people their ability to actually be in a home. If we don't take that seriously, like that actually is what happened. There's a lot of people who have completely been priced out of the market because they were in the hands of a lesser experienced agent. That mitigates that problem because you are still involved with all the heavy lifting. You're involved in the consultation. You're involved in the negotiation. You're involved in the request for repair and the renegotiation. You're handling the important parts. You're doing the diagnosing. You're doing the prescribing. You're simply not putting people on and taking their vitals. I'm going to stop right there. Any questions that you have on that?
I have a bunch of questions, but I want to let other people jump in here if they need to. Scott, I see you're
I
off mute.
I forgot if a salaried person can hold an open house without a license. I
They got
can't.
to be licensed.
Okay. I know there's a list of things that unlicensed people can do, and then there's a list that you have to have a license. I'd have to refresh that for sure.
You definitely want them to be licensed because one, like my production partner that I've had now, he's been with me for 3 years. Now there's a key. You don't expect much of a shelf life on this. The rule should be in order to graduate out of this program, you want to, one, there needs to be a time in service agreement, which means you're going to do this for 1 year. You can't force them to, but they need to understand in order to graduate to a team agent, or to become a solo with you in our world that we're all in with our brokerage, like, hey, you can graduate. There's a path to you not needing me and not needing the training wheels. You guys, do you remember? I remember how broke I was. I remember how many times I wanted to quit because there was no light at the end of the tunnel. I was certain I was going to fail, but I had a mentor who would not let me quit. I tried. I tried to become our lender. I was going to be an escrow person. I was going to be in title. And every time he would smack me and say, shut up, do what you're supposed to do. If you're doing the right things, he was a New Yorker, a New Yorker Italian. He said, shut up. If you're doing the right things, all you need is time. And I'm so grateful for that guy. I will never forget those words replay in my head. Hey, and he, New Yorker Italian, idiot. If you're doing the right things, all you need is time. And I didn't believe what that meant. And it's like now I know he meant I'm making the calls, I'm having the conversations, I'm setting the appointments, I'm writing the contracts, I'm pending deals. They eventually close. And you just repeat this cycle until it becomes a consistent flowing pipeline. But I have that through hindsight. It's like I didn't know that at the time. So it's like you are giving somebody a path to actually being successful. And the thing that I got that I was so privileged to have, a mentor who actually gave a shit about me, a mentor who actually cared if I succeeded or I failed. This forces that because you're paying them. You're going to care about them. Even if you didn't have like the father-son dynamic relationship that he and I had, you're creating it because now it's you do have that dynamic and that trust with your money. You want that money to go to something that's going to bring you a return. It just works. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. What's up, everybody? Yeah,
Hey,
so this
Michael.
is good stuff, Colton. I just had it's very interesting this timing because I hired what I call an operations manager who was also an agent on my team. So she kind of had this same duality that we're talking about. I had her on a $3,000 a month schedule or payment, and then 10% of my commission, right? And so that was the bonus structure. The problem was, and you kind of just addressed it. You said, you have to have a shelf life of, you know, an agreed upon time frame. I did not have that, and so I was kind of expecting this to last a little bit longer. But after this first 12 months, she was like, well, right at about the 11 months, she was like, you know what? I've kind of learned everything that I need to learn. I appreciate everything, and I want to go do this realtor thing myself. And um, so because it was not agreed upon early, it kind of felt like a rub a little bit. And, you know, like
So
I said, it's interesting timing that you're talking about.
the cool thing is, and I know people don't like it when I say this, everything good and bad that's happening to you in your life is because of you. It's your
Yeah.
fault. If things are going
There you go.
great, it's your fault. It's because of you and everything that you've done up until this point that's led you to things going great. It also works in the opposite side. It's like anytime I look back and if my business was suffering, if I zoomed out and if I was neutral and if I didn't make excuses, I can guarantee you if I reviewed the last 90 days or the 180 days worth of output, the things that I did, the skill set that I worked on or didn't, it's like everything that I did up until that point led me to be exactly where I'm at. If that's good, if that's bad, whichever way, it's your fault. Team leaders, I hear them all the time. My team sucks. I won't do this. I won't do that. It's like, congrats. That's what you built. It's because of you. So if your team sucks and if your team won't make the calls and if your team won't do these things, it's because you built an environment to where them not upholding a standard is acceptable. Therefore, you've given them permission to continue not doing that thing. But if your team's doing great, I can guarantee you, if I look at your environment, you've created this environment to where people know they have to uphold a standard. And if they don't hold that standard, you'll let them go from the team. Like this model and what we do and everything we do in our business, it's always our fault. And it's like the minute we can accept that and be like, okay, this failed. By the way, I went through two production partners until I got the great one. The first one, I totally screwed up, and that was 100% my fault because I didn't do what you and I just discussed. I didn't set the time in service, and transactions sold because you're not going to graduate unless or until you've served for at least 1 or 2 years. Whatever you do, I did one. 1 or 2 years. And unless you've done, and we have a different price point and it's a different area, but it came out to about 25 million in sales until they conducted that, which here was about 25 sales. We have a higher price point. And for people who are in lower price points, I promise I've done both. We have one realtor for every 7 people. It's really hard in the high volume areas to do that because there's so much competition. But it's like, so you term time served and transactions conducted. Those are the two requirements before you can graduate. So if 1 year happens and you haven't completed your 25 or your 30 transactions, whatever you set your rule as, you don't get to graduate. Once you've done that, you can make the decision, do we want to renew or do we want to do this? My production partner that I have now, he's been with me for 3 years. He is the best agent that I have ever worked with. He is incredible. He is better than I am. I have to ask him questions all the time. I don't know how to write a contract. I don't know how to sign into my MLS. I do not know how to do the things that I used to do. And I love it because he does it. And it's like, and the reason that it works is I do not treat him like an assistant. I treat him like a genuine partner. I had a client who was a past client of mine, who wanted to buy a $20 million home. I did not choose to separate myself from him at that time. That's something that I see a lot of people do. That is the fastest, most guaranteed way for you to have your production partner throw you the middle finger and say, I'm out. And not only am I out, but I'm also quitting your team. Treat them the way you would want to be treated. So he didn't even touch this person. It was a past client of mine. It was a good friend. He called me up. He goes, hey, I want to go buy this place. Can we go look at it on a weekend? I went to show it to him. Not that I wouldn't have introduced, but it was already an existing relationship. So he went. The only thing he did was write the offer. I paid him the same full entire commission. We had enough, like the price point is irrelevant. He gets to be my partner on every single deal. He also knows that through me, if he gets a lead, it's going to convert. Like he knows that when we get a deal, it's a past client, it's a referral, it's a low hanging fruit, easy to do deal. Brand new agents got to go do new stuff and prove themselves. And now they got to get 30 clients in order to convert two. And it's like, there's just a difference. So he's stayed for 3 years. I've graduated his pay. I haven't kept him at the same exact salary plus the bonus. And I'm going to get to that here in a second. But the whole compensation structure, when you first start, is one, you're going to pay them the salary. Choose whatever works. Like where it's 45,000 here, plus they pay for fuel. So it ends up being right around 50. That's the base pay, but then 5% for anything that they set. So if they go into the pond and they set an appointment from a company provided lead, they get 5% of that commission. Okay. Now, what if I talk to somebody and they say, hey, well, we're going to meet him at 2? Well, that means he didn't set it. I did. But he also gets 5% for showing. So there's a total of 10% bonus that's possible, 5% for anything that they set, that they're responsible for setting that appointment, and then 5% for anything they show. The reason we set it up that way is my ISA sets a lot of appointments. So if she were to set an appointment, then she's getting that 5%, not him. He graduated because I knew I didn't need to motivate him to do what he was supposed to do. So I just graduated him to 10%. No matter what, you get 10%, whether you set it or not. Now he's at 15. So over the course of 3 years, his pay has gone up. But I also know if I had to go start fresh with somebody and start from scratch, which by the way, I would happily, but I want to keep this guy happy and I want to keep him with me. So it's like, as long as you treat them the right way, now I have somebody, he goes on listing appointments by himself that I don't go on. He handles, I went on vacation. I came back. He had 3 deals in escrow. I didn't even talk to these people. Granted, that's not the way that this model is supposed to work, but we've been together for so long now to where I know he's doing what he needs to do and we're 100% okay. The rule that I don't want to forget to tell you, and then I'm going to really shut up, is all communication is on group text. All of it, always. All communication, all everything. Yes, my ISA is licensed. All of the communication is through group text messages. When they want to write an offer, they say, perfect, we're going to go ahead and set up an offer consultation. We discuss the offer consultation. I get a calendar put on my thing with the Zoom link, and we handle the consultation. We handle the offer. We discuss what they're going to offer. I handle the objections. Not that he couldn't anymore, but the thing that you guys will lose when you start a team is all of your past clients that you hand off to your team become no longer your past clients. You have now handed off that words. I'm still learning how to use them. You're taking that relationship, you're handing that client, and you're giving that relationship to someone else. This model, you retain your relationship. You're still involved in the important conversation, the offer. You're still the person. But the thing that you're not doing is showing them the homes anymore. Clients are 100% okay with this. Now, I'm not paying attention at all to these group threads. I'm liking shit. I'm thumbs upping stuff. I'll laugh occasionally, but I'm barely even looking at this stuff. And my production partner knows that. So he'll text me privately and be like, hey, I need you to step in on this. And then I go, hey guys, so you're still there. You're involved. You're not stepping too far back. So when I talk about 47% extra retained company dollar in comparison to the team model, it is so much more than that because what you're not factoring in is that if Kobe was given 5 leads, that if she got it, she'd slam dunk all 5. If you're lucky, a brand new agent is going to convert 1 or 2 of them. Or if they're really good, 3. So it's like that 47% isn't taking into consideration what I can't calculate. How much loss of dollar would we have received as a result of the lesser conversion that will naturally occur when a lesser skilled agent is handling these conversations?
Colton, I have a question.
Yes.
And I apologize if I missed it earlier on because I had a couch delivery
Oh,
pickup.
oh,
So
you're fine.
I stepped out for one moment. What about the other, like you have this production partner, but you also have buyer agents on your team
Yeah.
or no? Okay, so how do you determine what goes where? You know, is
Really good question. It's a really good one because you got to be the natural fear is my team going to be mad? And it's like my answer is no, because I don't take company provided leads. Anything new that's generated as a result of our marketing, as a result, this guy's only here to keep me into production. Because by the way, if this whole thing tanked and if everything went back to zero and I had to get back into the trenches, I didn't give away all my past clients. I still got an active pipeline. Like I'm good. And the cool thing is you will be in as a team lead, there's months sometimes where you're like, oh, your personal production is the thing that keeps you okay. And it's like the bills are still going to get paid because you're still in the high dollar and you get the time back as if you're not in production, but you maintain the profitability of being in. That's the most important thing. Everybody wants to get the profitability and get their time back. They lose the profitability and they also lose their time. This gives you your time back, but you get to keep the profitability of being in production. And by the way, for a lot of people, like solo agent, by the way, it is the most. Now, I said the profit margin is way higher on my mega team. My mega team makes me way more money than the smaller profit margin of than the bigger profit margin on my micro team. Because we do so much volume, that smaller percentage is still more money. So that's why I still run both. Because people are like, well, why do you even run it? You said I make more money from the mega team, but I also have a higher margin on my micro team.
makes sense?
Do you keep your past clients on a campaign? Yeah, that all stays with you. You're in charge of all of it. It's not going to go to anybody else. It's still you. You're still going to do, by the way, the high dollar an hour activity is definitely, hey Kobe, it's Colton. Want to check in on you, see how the house is going. Is there anything you need us for? Just wanted to let you know if you guys ever need a handyman, if you need estimates for painting, if you need a new roof, always call me. I'll give you all those touches are still coming from you. You're not leveraging the important shit because the problem is that will be efficient, but it's not effective. You want to be the one making the quarterly phone call. You want to be the one calling to invite them to the client appreciation event. And I can tell you that because one, I tried to leverage that shit off. I had almost none of my past clients RSVP. When I called, I immediately had 15 people RSVP because it's me. It's my relationship with them. They know that. And it's like you stay in charge of the important parts. You're just not showing the house or inputting the listing or writing the offer. You're reviewing everything and approving it. You're on the text messages, but they're sending the properties. They're doing everything they're supposed to do.
Michael?
Yeah, I may have missed this part, but when you say graduated, are you talking about a graduated commission structure? Or are they graduating from 5 to 10, 5 to 10 to 15?
Technically both. And by the way, I have no schedule for that. The schedule was he's incredible. He deserves more money. And the minute that I knew he was worth it, I paid him more. He's just a fantastic partner. The graduation is from the model because you're going to have people who are like, hey, I'm new. I want to become you one day. And it's like, cool, do. The path is one, you're going to serve in this role, and then you can graduate, then you can graduate to a team partner. And it's like, then you let them go do their thing. And then people get mad at that. It's like, by the way, you cannot clip people's wings and keep them in your cage and pretend that you have a loyal little birdie. It's like you want them to know that you are free and clear to fly free, but I first got to make sure you know how. I first got to make sure you can take flight. I got to make sure that you can do it safely before I let you go get attacked.
Is one of the ways that you hold a business partner accountable by the bonus that is due at the end of the year?
It's not, so they're paid per transaction the same way that we
Oh,
are.
they are. So
Yep.
when you say that you're asking them for a year and they say yes,
Mhm.
is there any repercussion if they don't
Nope.
say a year?
If you hate me or if I hate you, this is an at-will relationship. We can both say bye-bye at any time that we want. Um, yeah. So I mean, and again, if you're careful and you pick somebody who's awesome, you pick somebody who you want to work with, and as long as you're not, I see this go wrong. This is literally the most common thing that goes wrong. You start just there's just a lot of people who are not good leaders, and if you're not a good leader in the traditional team model, you're not going to be a good leader in this model either. And it's like there's just some people that they're egotistical and they're maniacs and they're mean and they treat everybody like they're a servant. And it's like, it's not going to work very well because people are going to hate working for you. However, if you can treat this person like, hey, I'm here to make sure that you are successful. Both of us benefit from this relationship. Once we graduate, then you can make the decision to go. And I've kind of wondered, I'm like, when is my guy going to go? Because it's eventually going to happen, but he keeps getting these huge price points and he's like, dude, I'm not walking away from this gravy train. Like this works. So it works for him, it works for me, it works for everybody.
One other question that I might have missed you talking about was qualifications. Did you talk about what you use for qualifications for this role?
Yeah, so one, I am not a disc person. I'm not a personality assessment person. I know there's a lot of people who sell. One thing I can tell you about people is no matter what's on those assessments, there is nothing that shows me somebody's work ethic, somebody's grit, their grind, their ability to push through. I just haven't found anything that actually works. So for me, I just want to explain the role very clearly, the things that are expected. Like a huge mistake you'll make is if this person doesn't understand this is not a 9 to 5 job. Like you're not checking in at 9 and leaving at 5. This is a lifestyle position. You're a realtor, which means from 9 to 5, that's your W-2 time, but your 1099 time is you doing the open houses. It's you going out and showing clients on a weekend. It's you showing up late at night. It's you taking phone calls. Like that's the 1099 version of what you're doing. The W-2 part is the 9 to 5. Check with your state law. You guys got to go make sure that you're staying compliant within each of your states. I understand that. But it's like it's a lifestyle position. If a client calls you on a weekend, you are available. That's another big mistake people make is they don't make it clear that you're a realtor. You're available the same way that I am. This is a lifestyle position.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Do you find any conflicts in the time? Like he's out showing homes, because one of the things I found is that like because we had a lot of client flow, there's people who needed to be tended to, but there's also, maybe she's out doing an open house or maybe out doing showings when somebody else probably needed to be tended to as well. So do you find any conflict in that? Because I've considered picking up this model up again, but adding showing agents to the mix.
So I know there's a lot of people that do the showing agent and they're just so different. That's why I changed the model. My coach called it a showing partner and it confused. Showing partners already exist. They're the people who you pay per showing. They go out and show a house. There's a huge difference in one, the continuity of one person throughout the entire time. Maybe you are somebody who has it, like my buddy Dan Beer. He ran the showing partner model, and Dan will admit himself because when I introduced this to our group, Dan was like, "I don't get why would." But now looks back on it and he goes, "I actually get it. You're getting one specific person who's going off of you the entire time, like they are a partner and a consistent throughout the entire relationship." And it's like you can't tell the showing partner that they need to be in the office tomorrow at 9 o'clock between 9 and 11 prospecting. You can't hold them to KPIs. You can't hold them to X amount of conversations. And these, like, you can a W-2 employee, but you can't somebody who you're just paying per showing. It's just a total difference in the ownership that that person takes involved in the transaction and the freedom that it actually gets you back and or doesn't if you do it wrong.
And Colton, are you still providing the same support, like, transaction
Yeah.
coordinators?
Yeah, and then the guys and by the way, everything I say don't do, it's because I figured out like, oh, that was dumb. I shouldn't have done that. Like you'll be like, cool, I can now save the $450 on TC, and I'm gonna make again the whole point. They have 3 jobs, not to become your assistant that's gonna go TC Like I want them instead of UTCing, I'd rather you be prospecting and following up and inviting, like go generate more business and put more food on the table. By the way, anything that they're responsible for generating solely without you, not a company provided lead, they get paid 25%. So if they get a referral, they bring it in because if they were only going to get paid 10, I'd refer it to the person in the next office and get my 25.
Were you going to move into salary ranges or what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so mine it's a $45,000 base is what I pay. I know my friends in Fargo, North Dakota do a 35 or I think they do a 35. Mine actually comes out to right around 50. Don't be scared of payroll. It's really easy. Figure it out. Get ADP, get QuickBook, quit what's it called? Uh quick checks. I forget what it is. Easy check, something like that. Super simple. You don't need to be concerned about it. Do it correct. Want to make sure taxes and payroll taxes and all that get paid. But it's a very easy, very simple thing. The key here, though, is you need to install a cadence. You're going to give them a schedule that you adhere to. So you can, and you can screenshot this. Oh, and by the way, I don't want to forget. Don't let me because I will. I'll give you guys the whole SOP on all of this. And then you can take my phone number down. You can call me with any questions. I have the job descriptions. I have everything to give you guys. Um, Take a screenshot. This is what I recommend in terms of a schedule. This is what we do. 8 o'clock, we do our training and our role play. So we role play, we objection handle from 8 to 9, 9 o'clock to 10, we're prospecting. You're going to very clearly articulate to them that there's a difference between prospecting and follow-up. Prospecting is we're adding people to the pipeline. Follow-up is we're progressing people through the pipeline. So you give them a workable schedule. All appointments and inspections and contracts happen between the hours of 11 to 11 and after. We do not do anything other than prospect, role play, and follow up between the hours of 9 to 11. And it's like, why? Because we know that's a very successful schedule for agents. Occasionally, it'll happen where something's going to have to go in there. It is almost never that I'm on an appointment during those hours. Why? Because I treat it like a job and I hold myself accountable to what my calendar tells me I should do. Occasionally, we'll have to do it because there's no other choice, and that's okay. But the minute it's no longer an isolated incident and it becomes a pattern, it's an us problem, not a them problem. It's like we're allowing that thing to happen. Because if you had a $2 million listing appointment, what would you do? Oh, you'd move it after that appointment. So you're 9 to 11. Just consider yourself in a permanent listing appointment between those hours. Book outside of those hours.
Colton, one question about the salary that you just mentioned. When you're if you're doing a salary and doing it legally through payroll and getting all your taxes out, what about the bonuses, et cetera? Is that 1099 or is that
Yeah. So they get a W-2 and they get 10 and 9. And by the way,
they give out?
the brokerage is paying their commissions through that. So they'll get a check through EXP. So we're
Okay.
only handling the W-2 and then
Yep.
we just adjust the splits to make sure that it's going out through the brokerage.
Got it.
Here, I will share this. The biggest, like guys, like this is just one of those things. Timing, the minute that you know you're busy, you've got a steady flow of clients, and you've got 3 months saved for somebody's out. Like everybody freaks out because they're like, well, it's 50 grand. Well, it's really only just the 1 month salary if you figure out you'd hired the wrong person. It's really just 3 months worth of investment if you find out this isn't working. By the way, if it doesn't work, it's not because the model doesn't work, it's because you're running it wrong, which I did. Like I didn't get it right my first time. But you eventually, I promise you, if you just stick to it, you'll retain so much more money being in production, but you'll get your time back as if you're out. Here
We
is,
can't see your screen. Are you dropping a link?
I'm dropping the link right
Okay,
now.
cool. We are at the top of the hour, so just want to thank everyone for being here and for asking so many great questions. Colton, especially everything that you've shared has been really, really useful. Um, I think I've maybe seen you share this or some
This is
version
the
of this
whole
before.
SOP, how you guys handle everything. Like everything is in here for you to go operate the model through.
Perfect. We will make sure, I mean, obviously everyone grab that link now if you can, but we will also make sure that you get it via email. And Colton, your number, did you want to rattle that
Yeah.
off?
949-424-9975. Feel free to call me, text me if you guys have any questions. Always happy to help. This model changed my life and it changes a lot of other people's too. Again, I didn't
Thanks for
create it.
taking
I just
time.
started running it.
Thanks for
Thank you
taking
so
time to
much,
share it with
Colton.
us. Everyone have a very happy holiday week, and we will see you in the new year. We're going to drop our quarter 1 lineup any day now, so keep an eye out for it.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas. Happy
Merry
holidays.
Merry Christmas.